are ready for our Slido questions, and that we've gotten to the end of the content, and I want to hear from you guys. So let's see if Brandon's got the iPad. Let's see. Brandon? I'll give him a second to come out. Yeah, I think that we are in this moment right now where things are changing so fast, but we can be a resource to each other. Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Okay. Okay, so let's see. There's a bunch of NFT questions, which is really great. And I would say, okay, so do you think licensing for clients will change in the future with NFTs? I do. I think that there's one company, and I didn't put them on the deck. So like I said, it's like the Metaverse real estate ecosystem 1.0. I know that HomeJab is one of these companies that has, they have a landing page. They have a splash page about NFTs. And so you can, I think if you're a HomeJab photographer, you can put up your photography and license it if it's minted as an NFT. And so, for example, the things that would fit into that category, and so that would be like neighborhood shots, amenities. For us, that might be like Golden Gate Bridge shots, or UC Berkeley is in my neighborhood, and so like really beautiful pictures of the Campanile, like the clock tower, and iconic images in your neighborhood, in your area. Those would be like very more in demand, and I think that it sort of replaces the stock photography model. And I forgot to mention, but one of the things about NFTs and why I think it's interesting for licensing is that, yes, you have proof of ownership. I mean, in the US, to show copyright, you still need to, if you want to register it with the Copyright Office, you can do that. But I feel like I would envision a future where I would prefer, personally, to be able to mint my stuff as an NFT, and then to have that serve in some way as a copyright, or as showing that this is my work. And maybe we mint stuff before we send it to our clients, because if it then ends up on Zillow, I mean, imagine that if we had the power to say, hey, Zillow, you're going to have my content on your site, but every time it's used, or every time there's a transaction on this, I get 10% royalties, right? I think so. That's clap-worthy, because that's the kind of thing that an NFT is about. You set it up so that there are royalties coming to you as the owner of that. And I love that, and I wish that we could empower ourselves in a way. So I would be pro, finding solutions that give more power back to creators. And so licensing is definitely one way. Let's see. Where do you go for virtual staging of Matterport scans? So I have used two. I've used Listing 3D and also Treatise. So those are the two that I've used. But I know that there are others. I forget the names of all of the companies, but there's a couple of them. But I think that's what's nice about the Treatise version of, I'm not sure who asked this question, but when you use Treatise, that you can configure some of it yourself, which I think is pretty awesome. Somebody's been able to implement crypto payment into their company, but the acceptance is low, and so they wonder, teaching clients about AR may be tough. Where can we learn more? So I think that crypto payment right now, and that's awesome, but I think crypto payment right now is low because, like I said, I think your regular residential realtor is not going to have a crypto wallet, or they're not going to quite be ready for it yet. But if you guys go to Craigslist right now, it might blow your minds that you can search and see, you can actually search and see which items on Craigslist. I found this a few weeks ago because I was looking for something on Craigslist, and it was accepts cryptocurrency payments. And that's where I think something that we do all the time, buy and trade lenses and do stuff like that. If Craigslist is enabling us to have cryptocurrency transactions, I love that too, because when I buy stuff on Craigslist, I'd love to be able to say, yeah, here's the receipt. Try getting a receipt for something you bought on Craigslist. So I think that it'll go that way for our clients as well. But augmented reality, I think you're going to have to do your own promotion right now, but you can learn more. Certainly, like all the links that I have provided are helpful, and I'll try to keep adding to that. Let's see. Any thoughts on potential future of NFTs in our market in a daily practical sense, such as selling a real estate gallery as an NFT to a client? I would try it. I think you have to sometimes do something without maybe knowing that there's a monetary gain immediately because you're going to learn so much. So I would totally try that, especially if you have a luxury client. I would definitely do that. When do you think mass adoption with glasses and stuff is going to be in our lives? That's a great question. I don't know. I think one thing that's missing right now in this whole like metaverse mass adoption thing is, of course, the infrastructure is still being built. And the other thing is that Apple has not announced their glasses yet, but we all know that they're working on them. And like I said, like I can't get onto OpenSea or I can't use a crypto wallet like MetaMask on the Safari browser. And my guess is that Apple is probably working on their own proprietary systems right now. And so it'll be kind of like when the iPhone came out and it just crushed everything, or like the iPod came out and all those what were those called, Diamond Rio MP3 players just ended up being coasters on your table. It's because of the iPod. So I think that the thing that is coming, the 800-pound gorilla, is going to be when Apple makes these announcements. But every time, we're like, oh, great, it's the developers conference. What's coming? And then nothing. We don't hear anything. So I think it's a way. Does this stuff scare you at all? It seems overwhelming. Yeah, it totally does. It does, and it is overwhelming, and I know that it's a lot. But I hope that it's given folks some food for thought. I think that my business is as a photographer is like, how do I keep myself engaged in my work? And so for me, it's good to have a creative outlet that I think teaches me something every time I use it. Okay. Does the AI image generating sky constant from scratch, or does it just copy paste parts of the existing photos? It's like a soup. So I think from what I don't know how else to describe it. So because and Getty Images, so that's a really good question. Does AI imaging generate constant from scratch, i.e. the sky from scratch, or does it just copy paste parts of those existing photos? I think it copy pastes parts of those existing photos. One of the reasons is that there's a really good article that was posted about, I think in September, Getty Images said no more AI generated images, like no way, because they found that some of the AI generated images had like the Getty Images logo like all like warped. Yeah, and they're like, that's ours. And so they don't want to touch it because they're like, that might end up as a lawsuit, like a copyright infringement issue. And so they said no more. But so it is from scratch, but it's like say it takes like 1,000 photographs and it blends them all together and comes up with an image. It is taking it from somebody else's work. So, but at the current moment, the legislation has not caught up to say, do you as the creator of that photograph own 1/1000th of this new image? Like you would think, probably, but that isn't something that has been decided yet. Let's see. Is there a website where I can put my iGuide through Matterports in a virtual world, like a portfolio of properties that I shot for a realtor, listed, and sold? Yes, there is. So I'm not sure about the iGuide. Might be tricky. You could extract the panos, but I think that the 3D data from the iGuide, I think it's more of 2D data. They can correct me on that, but I think that Matterport being full 3D, because with the iGuide you can get a DXF file, but it's not like or you can get SVG, but you can't get like a point cloud or an OBJ file like you can with a Matterport. And so what that means is that the Matterport OBJ is a 3D model. So if you have a 3D model, you can import that as a world into spatial, so you don't have to use their templates. You could do it in spatial. You can do it in alt space. I put links to documentation on how to do it in on my website. And so, yeah, and then create a portfolio of properties that I shot for a realtor. Yeah, you can totally do that. And literally largest layoff in Facebook history today for the Meta project. Yeah, I have friends who lost their jobs today and who have been working on building things at Meta for many years. And yeah, it's really, it's a crazy time. And so yeah, we'll have to see what's happening. But yeah, it was big news today. Okay, can someone else create an AI image of the image I create and then sell that? I mean, would they do that? It's an ethical question. Yeah, they could, but they'd be in trouble with you because they took your image unless they owned the copyright to it. So they could do it, but I don't think they could sell it legally. I think that would technically still be illegal. But there's nothing stopping them from doing it. Let's see. There's a lot of questions, guys. I'm thrilled, but I can't answer them all. Okay. How would one start learning about the tech you are presenting, first comprehending it, and second utilizing it? I think that the best thing to do is to start easy, start small. Look at, for example, I think the spatial platform that I mentioned is so easy to use. Anyone can make a virtual gallery, and I think that would be a really easy place to start. And then you can share that on social media, or I would meet you there. If anybody creates a virtual gallery and they want me to come check it out, I would be your guest in the gallery. Let's see. Oh, I forgot. Thank you. What was the app used to generate the realtor popping up with the voice? Oh, that was Trace. But the folks that I thought you were asking, which was the audio, that was Mubert AI. It sounded to me like they mashed up Mozart and Schubert, and they came up with Mubert AI. So that was Mubert. And yeah, so I think that those are all really great questions. I think that that's probably a good place to wrap up. And I would like to tackle some of these later and respond to folks and share with them my feedback on some of these other questions that you have. Some of them are really good questions about, what is the future with these NFTs and how can we use them? So if this is 2022 and we're at this conference now, I feel like you guys are so ahead of the game. And I hope that a year from now, more will be clear. And like I said, nothing would make me happier than for the next, greatest use case to come from somebody in this room who thought of a way of doing their work differently, and that they were able to then, share that and be successful. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's time today, and thanks. Thank you.